Volume 2, where our lovely guest this week is Ashley Clements.
Hello.
You may recognize her from the Lizzie Bennet Diaries and or another variety of things.
That?
It's a show. It's a Pride and Prejudice adaptation.
Never read it.
Overrated in my opinion. All those girls are just so redheaded.
Oh no, I really can't stand the redheads.
I know, me either.
Yeah,
Stupid. No. And today, we're gonna make flowers that look like this. Bing! And I made some meatballs. Would you like some?
I would love some.
I remember. I like them. I was feeling like cooking this
I'm not
morning.
crafting anymore. I'm just here for the meatballs.
How about you want? There are more. If you want to join us today on our Craftversation adventure, we are going to be using magazines and scissors, thank you, and straws. They don't have to be cute, adorable straws like this, but I thought they were cute and adorable, so that's what I picked. And masking tape. And good to use colorful pages, I think.
Yeah, colorful fleurs. And then I just need a strip of it, right? Like, should I tear out the whole page?
You can tear out the whole page and then we will cut it, probably like in half. About. And then I recently did a couple things together, which may be coming out soon, depending on when this goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did we do?
We started the year shooting Muzzled the Musical.
We sure did.
Which some of you probably helped back.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
For giving us jobs.
We had some fun scenes together.
We did have some fun scenes together.
Too.
Yeah, you got to be real mean to me.
I got to be real mean to you.
It's not like you've never done that before.
Fantasy.
But I also maybe bit back. That'll make sense.
That'll
when
make
you see the show.
Sense.
It was really fun.
It was totally fun.
We had a great time on it.
And we got to work with Max again, who we obviously adore.
We love. We got to shoot in this amazing house.
It's a really weird, crazy house.
It looks like it's like straight out of 200 years ago. Like it's really,
it does,
really
but it's
beautiful.
not because nothing in Los Angeles is that old.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, and it's kind of cold and drafty because
and apparently
it's this like
maybe a little ghosty.
Big house. There's people may have felt like they heard some things, like a crying baby, right? In
the fireplace. I got to sing. You did a lot of singing. I do less singing because that's
you do
kind
less
of
singing
plot
because that's kind of the plot. But if we get to do a second season, there would definitely be more Mary Kate singing. Plus, you've gotten to sing in some other stuff recently.
Yeah, I really honestly didn't care that much because
Pretty cool.
if I ship it and I've gotten to do other things, so it's like let the other people sing. So we did that, which was great and so exhausting. Oh my god, I was so exhausted after that shoot.
It
was a really tough. It was like a.
It's one of those things that requires a certain stamina to be on set every day for 12 hours a day. And like, I mean, and gosh, a lot of people in Hollywood are on set for more like 16 hours a day. But you get used to it. It's just that like we
haven't done that.
We haven't done that. And we just came back from like the holidays. I mean, it was like January, I don't know, like 6th or something when we were shooting that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I remember when I was in grad school that it was just, I realized it was something I could gear my body up to go like 12 or 16 hours a day and like get in the groove of that. But coming back to it when you haven't been doing it, your body's like, no.
I was thinking, I don't think I have shot, because I shot 5 days in a row, 12-hour days, and I don't think I've done that in 3 years since I shot The Sound in the Shadow. Like 5 full days, like we're right up next to each other. Like on I Ship It, we didn't shoot every day in a row, like we would have breaks in between. So yeah, it was tough. I like felt pretty.
Well, it's hard too because you're not like sitting at a desk for all that time. You know, I mean, not just because you're on your feet and doing things, but also because you have to be really kind of present and giving a lot of yourself emotionally, which is also
pretty draining. That's not to say it wasn't fun. It was great.
Total blast, but yeah, I was tired too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out.
I know. I have no idea how long that's going to take, so don't ask us.
Yeah,
we don't do that
either.
part.
I've heard rumors that it won't be too long, but
yeah, we'll see.
You never know.
I would say it's one of the more frustrating things about being an actor is that you don't have any control about how long things are going to be. It's always longer than you want it to be. And, like, I know for one that I've been getting so many questions ever since LBD ended 2 years ago. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I've shot a lot of stuff that just hasn't come out yet. Like, and I don't know when it will come out. Everything on IMDb says it's coming out 2015, so we'll see.
This might be your year.
But I have kind of no control and no idea if that's, like, when that's going to happen. And, yeah, it's kind of, you know, and I know that you've shot stuff where you had to wait years to really get to see, like, the final project.
Yeah, I shot things, like, 4 years ago that I have not seen the light of day yet, which can be frustrating. After muzzled...
Yeah, then we shot something that you have a lot more control over.
Yes, that is true. That I do know when it will be coming out, although I'm not going to tell you because it might change, but it will be soon. We shot Spore, which Ashley was very kind to act in. I don't know, we haven't told people much about Spore, which is okay.
I don't necessarily think that we should. I'll say it's really different than it's definitely different than anything you've seen us do together.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very different than anything I've ever done.
Well, your character for sure.
Yeah,
is a little
is pretty out there in a really fun way, and that's a big part of the reason why.
Very good at it.
Well, thank you. It's a big part of the reason why when I got the script, I was like, yes, no one's ever asked me to do anything like that before. That's totally different, and I found that very exciting.
Well,
I mean, it was a blast to shoot.
It was fun. Yeah, we had a good time. It was definitely another, like, intense day, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
It was a tiresome, even though we didn't shoot the full day, but it was very,
yeah, but we were doing
emotionally
draining stuff. And also, you know, some things, and I don't know if everyone knows this, so forgive me if it's, like, condescending to explain, but there are things that you shoot where you're really shooting in pieces and you're not even doing the whole scene over and over,
right.
And, so sometimes you're doing, like, 2 lines, and then you're doing another 2 lines, and it's all very different. And anyone who watches Spore, which is all of you, obviously, we did the full short every take, basically. So we probably went through that thing, like, 50 times that day, because we shot from so many different angles. I mean, there were a couple times when we were like, okay, we just need, like, the last 3 lines of the whole thing, but for the most part, we did the entire piece over and over and over again,
yes.
Which is unusual.
Yes,
in film,
and can be quite draining. There were parts that day that I was like, okay,
yeah,
I had to rally.
Your character went through a lot that day.
That's true. It is very different from most of the content on my channel, and that it's a little dark. But I hope that you guys will like that. It's sci-fi, which is cool.
I think is really cool.
Which was really fun to try and do on a very small budget. But I feel pretty good about what we did. Alright, so I have started cutting my...
Yeah, I should probably start actually making flowers.
Well, you take your time. No rush, no rush. If you're following along, I cut a 5-inch strip here. This is what our wonderful craft consultant, Katie Campshure, shout out to Katie Campshure, told me to do, because I was like, I want to do this craft. I have no idea how. So thank you, Katie. So she said to cut about a 5-inch strip here and then fold it in half, and now I'm going to make little slits along the edge, and they should be about, she said I should leave about a 1/2 inch not cut, because you're going to tape it, and maybe about a 1/4 inch apart. So a lot of little tiny kits. So we got a couple things coming out soon.
We do have a couple things
which
coming
is
out
pretty.
that we got to do together, which is awesome because,
yeah.
You know, I think there were a lot of really great things about Muzzled, but one of my favorite things about Muzzled was getting to, like, make stuff with people that I love.
Likewise. It was a very fun group of peeps. And you and I haven't done anything together since LBD. Which, yeah, like you said, was 2 years ago since that ended. Crazy. So crazy.
It's really...
It's very weird. I don't know. I think about how 3 years ago, like, we were just getting started. And it makes me feel old because, like, so much has happened since then, really, and yet it feels like it was yesterday.
Exactly 3 years ago, almost.
Yeah.
It was, like, February of 2012, we were starting to rehearse and, like, learn about what the heck
Somebody,
we were doing.
this is a fun question related to that. Somebody asked what our first impressions of each other were.
The thing is, the first time we ever encountered each other, we were in an audition situation.
What I was about to say.
In which case, I think people. I am much more concerned about myself.
Yeah, it's not a normal situation because you're not really focusing on anybody else. You're just like, okay, don't screw this up.
But I did. I mean, I can tell you that there were 2 people in final considerations for Lydia, and so I read with both of them, and it was abundantly clear that you should be cast in the role. Like, I was like, well, she's gonna get it. You know, but then again, I'm all in my head, and I'm like, does that help me? Because I have red hair, and she has red hair, and we have to be sisters, and so does that help me? Does that hurt me? It probably doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't know.
But it's really funny that you, like, thought about it to that extent. I was, like, not feeling positive about what I was doing that day, even though...
I know you say that, but you're wrong.
Thank you. I felt like I was, like... I don't know. It took me a while to, like, settle into Lydia, because I knew she was, like, a very big personality. So at the beginning, it was just, like, very big. And, like, in my initial audition and callback, I kept being like, man, that was, like, too much. I should have, you know, whatever. But
it's so funny, because I remember in that callback, the main note that Bernie kept giving to me was, like, bigger,
Really?
bigger.
That's funny. I didn't realize that. But you're right. The other girl, like, took it in a completely different direction. Like, so different. Like, a way I don't know. I don't know how to describe what she was. It was weird because we were all in the same room together, which is not normal.
Which is not normal. And
it's not
super
normally
weird.
how it goes. So we were all watching each other audition.
Which, I mean, was fascinating, but at the same time, like, kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, because you're just comparing yourself.
Yeah, it was really super weird.
She kind of played Lydia kind of sporty. I don't know. Like,
yeah, and, like, really kind of deeply sarcastic.
yes. Which was so not, obviously, like, what I was thinking for the character.
Yeah.
So that's when we first met each other. Although I remember at the very first rehearsal, I walked in, and you immediately were like, can I tell her the scandal? Can I tell her? Because Bernie had told you, I guess, what the scandal was going to be.
I asked, even before I had gotten the part. I was so curious how they were going to handle that.
I didn't, which maybe I should. Not that it would have changed anything, but I didn't even think to be like, oh,
because
what's my terrible scandal going to be?
I was just kind of, I had P&P on the brain so much, but I hadn't actually read the book since high school. I'd watched the 2005 movie like every year, at least once a year.
So then you're gonna stick some tape along the edge.
Okay.
But leave like half off of it so it can stick to the straw.
Yeah, but anyway, when I finished reading P&P, Bernie called and was like, it's between you and one other girl, and we're still deciding, but I want to, like, talk to you about what it is that you're in for, because this would be, like, a year of your life.
That happened to me as well. I was on the Sound in the Shadow set when I was getting that call.
Oh, that's so funny.
I vividly remember it. Which is only funny because, like, the most opposite character from Lydia. So it was, like, me and, like, a nose ring and glasses and jeans and, like, greasy. Thinking, like, okay, I'm gonna play this party girl.
But yeah, the only reason I asked is because I had just finished reading P&P, and when I got to that part, I was like, how do you modernize that? Because there's just nothing scandalous about premarital sex anymore. Right. And,
in the same way.
And I really didn't want it to be a pregnancy scandal. And so that was, like, kind of my main, like, I was like, what are you doing with this? He mentioned they hadn't quite decided. He was like, I think we're leaning towards this. We also have this as an option. And I was just like, don't do that.
Don't do that. And so, yeah, so I walked into our first rehearsal, and Ashley was like, it's a sex tape! And I was like,
I was excited about it, because I thought it was a very, I realized not everybody loved it, but I thought it was a really clever...
No, I mean, I ended up liking it as well, but...
handle that. Because I know this is getting into, like, serious conversations that people were having about the thing, but I don't think the implication was ever meant to be that, like, there's something inherently wrong with that. The problem was the, like, issue of consent.
Yes.
Really. And so, whereas if we did, like, a pregnancy scandal, then, like, you're being punished by, like, parenthood and like
I agree.
And like then we're saying
Also,
that it's shameful to like be a single mom. Like
the
I don't know.
Pregnancy
There's just
thing
like
is
weird.
like, I feel like uneasy.
It's also a little it's like it's not that
very,
creative. It's kind of like what's
it's done a lot.
Like
yeah.
And it's also the thing that would sort of like bind her to Wickham forever,
right.
which is the same.
Well, that
thing.
was the first thing I said was when you guys told me it was a sex tape. I was like, oh, so Wickham and Lydia don't end up together, and Bernie was like, no, and I was like, oh, interesting. That obviously was a completely different direction to take, which, I mean, thank God. I think people would have been very mad if Lydia had stayed with this version of Wickham.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think this version of Wickham is not that different than the version of Wickham in the book. I think it's Lydia who is, you know, and largely because you played her, is so lovable that she's many people's favorite character, and then you can't take somebody's, you know, favorite character and go like, here's a lesson for you that you have to deal with the rest of your life. Sorry, you don't get to be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are we going with this?
Speaking of sex tape, I tried to warn my mother
I remember this.
the night before, or like a couple days before the episode actually aired. Look, you did it! You did it! Oh, I'm having so much trouble taping. Yours is going great, and you can add more around to make it bigger.
Ooh,
I think is the idea.
That. Do I want to add more of the same color or a different color? I think maybe I'm gonna like expand it in a blue.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was trying to warn my mother, and I was in the laundromat that night, and my phone kept cutting out, so I literally was yelling, "It's a sex tape! It's a sex tape! It's a sex tape!" Like I was yelling in the laundromat because my mom could not hear anything I was saying. That's one of my more fond memories from
that story.
the LBD. Yes, good times. So that segues nicely into our next activity, which, as if you saw the last Craftversations, this will be an ongoing thing that we do, where we will play a little game called Hanky Panky, Marry Kill.
Hanky Panky
being kissing and stuff.
And stuff.
There's the start of my flower. It's looking all right.
Yeah,
I
that's
like your
great.
colors. Thank you. Okay. Now I had to decide which. Maybe I'll stick with the same like 2-page spread. So in today's edition of Hanky Panky, Marry or Kill, I would like to ask you, Ashley Clements, of your 3 options. I'm sorry, this is a little specific to you and your past projects, but Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy, Matthew McFadden as Mr. Darcy, or Daniel Vincent Gord as Mr. Darcy. Who would you?
Oh, my Darcys. I do feel like a weird ownership of all Darcys. Not because, I mean, not just because I was Lizzie, but like before LBD, I was very obsessed with the 2005 movie. A lot of people like to kind of hate on Matthew McFadden in that, and I won't stand for it.
I think he's great.
I think he's great, and I think that people's kind of problems with his performance have to do with the dialogue he was given, and not like I agree. He just has to say "I love you" most ardently, and it is not as good.
Bewitched me body and soul.
It is not, but I love Colin Firth. Actually, not. I mean, I love Colin Firth as Darcy, but like I love Colin Firth like as everything.
Period. Me too.
Like, I just love
I am
Colin Firth.
Very big Colin Firth fan.
Probably gonna have to marry him.
Yep. Okay. Over Daniel. I mean, I love Colin Firth, so I can't
love
blame
Colin
him.
Firth. I adore Daniel. I had lunch with him last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was good to see
him in a
him.
while.
I know, I hadn't seen him since like the Streamies. Yeah, it was good to catch up. I don't want to kill him, so. Oh god, the internet's gonna make like a whole fuss about this. So.
Sorry.
But you know what? To be fair, of them, he's the only one I have kissed.
That is true.
So I will say, hanky panky, kissing is my. I mean, sure, it's just old habit.
So you're choosing Daniel for
I
that.
will choose Daniel for that. And then even though I just like gave this great impassioned defense of Matthew McFadden, I guess I'll kill him just because he's not Colin Firth.
You have to kill someone.
You have to kill somebody. That's how life works. Oh, this is how the game works.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Ashley. Okay.
Yeah, so I guess
Okay,
that's,
fair. Good answers. Good answers all around. I think I would also marry Colin Firth because he's perfect.
I mean,
So handsome.
Still too.
I know, that's what I was just about to say.
How
He's
dare
like
you?
as
like in the
handsome
King's
as he.
Speech. I'm like,
I love him. I think I would. I'm sorry, Daniel. I think I would hanky-panky Matthew McFadden and kill Daniel only because, and I have said this before, I love Daniel. I don't actually want to kill Daniel. Because I just have such, like, weird younger sister feelings about the two of them.
That's really funny.
That I could never find Daniel attractive, like,
that's really funny.
in any, like that at all. So I, like,
Whereas literally when Daniel and I hang out, we're like, gosh, you're so handsome. You're so beautiful. We're like, oh.
As
thanks.
you should, but
How
I
are
don't
you?
know. It's so funny
Like-
how that, like, happened. Where I'm like,
there's
ooh,
also that
that's
weird
the guy
thing,
my
too.
big sister makes out with.
Yeah,
Gross.
no, I mean, like, obviously, every time I see Wes, I punch him in the face. I'm just kidding. That's not how this works at all.
Wes is lovely. We love Wes.
But, like, I'm actually not somebody who, when I first met Daniel, thought, he's just the most handsome
That's
person
true.
ever. But
remember
because he
your-
was my Darcy, I did, like, absolutely fall in love with him in a way.
Yeah.
Not in a real way, guys. Don't freak out. But, I mean, and I love and adore him, and he's, like, one of my favorite people. But I recognized that was a growth that happened specifically because he was, like, playing my love. But I'm just, every time I see Daniel, I'm like, oh, you're so handsome.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the next edition of MK Audiobook Club. We are discussing Amy Poehler's Yes, Please, which I